Well, thank you all for coming. It's heartwarming to see so many people here. 3 hymns, solo flute. Why hymns? Well, it's a Sunday, and we're in a church, and people typically play or sing hymns on a Sunday, so that's the short answer. The longer answer is, I just turned 75. If you go back 65 years, I would have been 10 years old. My parents put me in Sunday school, so I learned hymns there. My mom was a very good homemaker, and she would actually sing hymns while she went about her business, so that was number 2. And then finally, I was in an elementary school where I had for 2 years a teacher at a small organ and made us sing hymns every morning. And now I could have become fed up, but actually for some reason it stuck with me, and 4 years later I decided to play an instrument, and I chose the flute. So that's that. Now we go to the next thing on the program. I hope some of you have a program. So that will be a piece by Georg Friedrich Handel. That's how he was born in Halle in Germany. He was a child prodigy, so he could already play instruments and already compose at age 10. So that's quite amazing. He did work in Germany for a while. Had a long spell in Italy, where he learned to compose Italian opera, and then finally he ended up in Britain, where his name changed to Georg Friedrich Handel. So anyway, he did play, of course, compose the Messiah, which I think all of us probably know, but he also composed a number of sonatas for flute and continuo, as it's called. This could be piano or violinist or whatever. And there's 10 of them. Now it's interesting, I have 2 versions, an old version with Roman numerals and a newer version with Arabic numerals. And the only one that is the same is 2. The music is the same, but the numbers are all different. So that's so we'll have number 2, which is the same in both versions. And I should say this is together with Ethan, who is our continuo today. All right. Yeah, so the next, there'll be a solo flute piece again. This is very European flute book. It's called Il Flauto Traverso, that's Italian, I think. And it says 16 Stücke für Flöte allein, 16 pieces for solo flute. And then all the text and all the composers are French, so it's kind of, interesting that you have all these languages. Now, there's 3 composers in here, Blavet, Hotteterre, and Boismortier. They lived at the same time, roughly from about 1700 to 1760. And it was a great time to be a flute composer in France. Boismortier, from which I will play 2 pieces, did actually have some very good news in 1724. He got a letter from the king, Louis XV, that he was now allowed to produce his music on his own, print it on his own, and sell it for profit. And so this was pretty good news. And the other 2 got similar letters. So Boismortier lived in Perpignan, and he decided, well, if I'm really going to have a good market, I better move to Paris. So he moved to Paris and started to sell his pieces there, and was an enormously commercial success. People asked him how he was doing. He said, I'm doing great, I'm making lots of money. So that's literally his thing. So anyway, let's hear some of the music. This one was produced in 1731, so about 7 years after he moved to Paris. Next on our program we have a piece from Telemann. Telemann was probably one of the most prolific composers of that period. I think he has produced over 1,500 pieces or something like that. So if you say the Sonata in D minor, then this piece doesn't come out. I acquired this piece in the Netherlands in the 1970s. There's a very famous recorder player, Frans Bruggen, and he sort of edited this, and you could buy it, so that's what I did. But I've never actually heard it in concert. I've never on the radio or anything come across this piece. Now maybe some other pieces of the 1500 are more famous and will be played more often. Anyway, I'll give you the sonata in D minor from Gerrit Voordouw. And I just have to get the right music in front of me. two to go, a Largo and an Allegro, but since you're clapping, I can briefly dab my forehead, because it's kind of warm in here. I only have one layer, so I can't take that off. That would be unseemly. All right, continue with the Largo. sort of to a preliminary conclusion, I should really talk a little bit about Ethan. So he's our music director at Knox since, thank you. He's our music director since January 1, I think. And he's really been an amazing influence. He's a very good piano player, as you can tell, so he sort of kept me decent, I think. And he's also an amazing organ player. So, and he is the director of the choir, so I happen to know him a little bit in that capacity too. You know, he can play classical music and religious music very well, but recently we had an interesting service where people were allowed to bring their animals. And so we had especially dogs and some cats, not too many cats, and some tortoises. And so he had a very nice music based on Carnaval des Animaux from Saint-Saëns. And a postlude, which was, what was it again, Ethan? It was the, oh yeah, right. All right, so as you can see, He's definitely a man of many talents. And what are you going to play for us? I didn't ask, so maybe.
Hi everyone. I'm just going to be playing two movements from Johann Sebastian Bach's E minor toccata for harpsichord.
And I'll just disappear for just a minute. as you can tell, I'm fairly new at this. I shouldn't have done it. And then every time this. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate what Ethan is doing here. I'm just a little nervous and a little forgetful, especially because I noticed that my flute teacher, Jaja Lee, is here in the audience. So I will be marked on a grade of 1 to 10, and I'm sort of sitting at a 6.5 right now, so I really need your help. Anyway, so I'm not very good in trivial pursuit questions, but when a good friend of the coffee club asked me just to see if I knew what I was talking about, I told him I played the flute. So do you know a flute composer whose name starts with a Q? I could say, yeah, that's Quantz. I can even tell you that his first names are Johann Joachim. Not everybody knows that. So that was an easy one, so I scored points on that. Now, Quantz was a German composer of flute music. He was a flute maker. He made flutes, and he played the flute, and he composed for flutes. And so one of the highlights in his career, I guess, was when he was asked to join the court orchestra of, now I have to think very, very much, I'm draw blank there for a minute. Anyway, he accepted that position eventually. Interestingly, that position was first offered to Blavet, we'll hear of later. And so Blavet sort of said, no, I'm not interested. So then Quantz got that particular position. So all of that to say is that these people that I played the music of, they knew each other and they appreciated each other's music. They're also competing sometimes, but so they'll now play the Flute Concert in G major from Johann Joachim Quantz. And in case you're worried, there's a very long introduction, so I get to do something eventually. You just have to wait. Okay. Just for your information, so the position that Quantz got was to be sort of lead orchestral person in the court orchestra of Frederick the Great of Germany. So I momentarily forgot that. All right, so we continue on with another Handel. I already told you a little bit about Handel. So this is number 7 in Ethan's book there, and mine is number 5, but it's all the same. All right. From Blavet. Basically 5 short pieces, and it's interesting. Normally, I should stand here. Normally, most composers make their life easy, and it's fast. It's Allegro or Presto, and it's slow. It's a little less fast. It's Moderato, Largo, and Andante. But in this case, there's actually all kinds of interesting names that Blavet gave these pieces. Let me first try to find them. That would be good. Yeah, I'm here. So the first slow piece, it's an Adagio, it's called La Bouget. And if you Google Bouget, you get all kinds of suggestions what you might mean, because Bouget is not a word that Google recognizes. Now if you say La Bouget Blavet, then you'll right away come to this piece. So it seems to be a fairly unique word in the French language. So the next piece is called Allemande, German. I don't really know why. It's a little bit of a faster piece. I guess Germans are hardworking, something like that. And then the next piece, I completely misunderstood. It's called Les tendres badinages in French. And I mistook se badiner for se baigner. Baigner is swimming, so I thought, oh, this is little swims or something like that. So when I play this piece, I think about our holiday in Prince Edward Island. We came back from it 3 weeks ago, and we had all the grandkids playing on the beach, and you have these little waves lap at the beach, and that's what it sounds like. So I told that to a French music friend. He said, oh, no, badinages, les petits badinages, small talk. That's what it is, small talk. So anyway, I got that right, but the image of kids on the beach doesn't want to leave me, so that's what I'll be trying to convey. Then we have l'invincible. Now if you say, well, I don't know any French, well, this is easy. This is the invincible, you know, so I don't know why it's called that. It's a very stately piece. And finally we have he ran out of fancy names, and he called the last piece a Presto. So I won't quite play it as fast as I want. For every 5 years you get a 10% discount, so I don't have to play it quite so fast. But my subtitle is "Don't talk to me, I've got to catch the bus." That's the kind of hurried feeling that I would like to convey. So Blavet was also one of these 3 French composers living from about 1700 to 1760, and together with Hotteterre and Boismortier, he produced a lot of music, and he really was probably one of the top flautists in France. And so he got the invitation to come to a German court, which he actually turned down. All right, so let's get, without further ado, it's a sonata in A minor, and we'll start with La Bouget. And just for Ethan, he knows it probably, but here we'll actually do the repeat, right? The first part will repeat, okay? Because it's such a nice thing to play. tendre badinages up next. many of you in the audience may feel left out because a lot of women here, thank you for coming. And you know, we've all had male composers, Georg Friedrich Handel, Michel Blavet. And of course, for women in 1700, it wasn't easy to tell their husbands, from now on, you'll peel the potatoes, I'm going to make music. That didn't happen, but there's a few exceptions, and one is notably Anna Amalia von Preussen, and she was high nobility, so she was a brother of Friedrich the Great, Frederick the Great. And so they lived in Berlin in a beautiful palace. I'm sure she had an orchestra that she could feed her compositions because she really liked music. She composed, and she also collected. So she had a giant collection, everything she could lay her hands on of music of that period, she would buy and put somewhere in a warehouse, I guess. And that collection got split between East and West Germany, but now that the two Germanys are unified again, it is a collection that is accessible again. All right, so about her musical career, you would think, well, she must have all the time in the world to play, but it's not so. Her dad wanted to marry her to the Swedish royal family. And so you really can't choose all the time, but in the end that didn't happen. And so I don't think she ever married. But she did compose, but being a collector of music by Bach and Handel, she was a little timid about her own compositions. And it's thought that she actually destroyed a lot of her compositions because she felt they were not good enough. So anyway, a few have survived. And the Sonata for flute in basso continuo in F major is one of them. To thank people, and you know, that's a dangerous sport because you forget someone, you make an enemy for life. So I'm really organized. I got it written down somewhere, except I have no clue where it is. So here we go, at the risk. So I'm not thanking Ethan, you know, you're sort of partners, I think, so right. So that's fine. Anyway, we really thank Sue. What's her last name again? Sue Fawcett, she's the administrator. She has sort of set this up to a large extent. Yeah, no, I really have to find it. Oh my God. If I hadn't found this piece of paper, I would be dead meat. So I start first with thanking my wife. Now you say, well, that's cheesy, but this flute is now 54 years old, and it was bought to me, or given to me by Johanna, my wife Johanna, 54 years ago. So I've had some good mileage out of it. I should thank our son Johann. He gets the prize for longest distance traveled. He flew in from Ottawa last night. And I got to thank my flute teacher, Jaja Lee. Not sure if she moved, but she was sitting here just a minute ago. So I've had lessons from her for the last 6 years, and that really works. I already mentioned Sue Forsyth. We have a good minister team here, led by Sheena Trotter-Dennis, Tony Snow, and Keith Murray. And then finally, this whole place really depends on volunteers. And so one volunteer I want to mention, if I see him, is Chuck Curry. Are you here, Chuck, somewhere? No? All right. Well, he's at the back. Oh, there he is. All right. Stand up, Chuck, for a sec. So Chuck is a former colleague from the University of Calgary in biological sciences. We both served in biological sciences. And he is really in charge of keeping this beautiful building as beautiful as it is, and making sure that when you walk out to the door, you don't get a piece of sandstone in your neck. That's Chuck's job. Well, a place like this costs a bit of money to keep up. Actually, I'm told it's $1,500 a day. That doesn't sound so bad, but that's about $5,000, $10,000 a week, I guess. So that in a whole year becomes about $500,000. So that's what it costs to keep this up. So we have one treasurer who sort of looks after that, Janet Zetka. Are you here, Janet? Janet, stand up for a sec. So she is the person in charge of that. She looks at huge numbers, unfortunately many of it a negative sign. And so collectively we can all do something about that. If based on this performance you say, well, no, I want to donate to Knox, it's really straightforward and easy. You just look at the QR codes in your pew, or you just find Knox United Church. Don't give it to the wrong church. Find Knox United Church and make a donation. And if the amount is sufficient, they'll give you a tax receipt for that. Sound is organized by Brandon today, so that was really good. And then we have our live streaming technicians, Vlad, Bodruk, and Rick Hand, for sitting up there. So you say, what, live streaming? I could have stayed home and looked at it. Yes, you could. This is for family in the Netherlands, and people who are far away. So anyway, thanks very much for coming, and have a safe trip home. Thank you. Niet altijd perfect, maar